If you're a Christian stay-at-home mum trying to budget on a single income, this is the video that I wish I'd seen years ago. Simple tools, solid theology, and no stress. Let's get into it. Hello sinners, saints, my fellow ribs and the glories of men. Welcome back to another video. My name's Grace, and if you have hung around for any amount of time, you will know that budgeting, finances, all things like that is one of my passions. And so I just wanted to give a nice and easy, simple kind of monthly strategy for how to do budgeting well. I haven't really seen this around. I've seen mixes of it, but here's my strategy for keeping the monthly budget nice and easy. Because most of the budgeting advice out there assumes dual incomes or the ability to be able to pay for fancy budgeting apps. But what about those Christian mums just trying to make it on one income? Now, here's all the info. First of all, framing this all within probably my favorite Bible verse on the matter, Proverbs 30. Proverbs 30, 7-9. Read that whole passage, but especially verse 9. And verse 8. Give me neither poverty nor riches, feed me with the food that is needful for me, lest I be full and deny you and say, who is the Lord? Or lest I be poor and steal and profane the name of my God. Remember, the goal is neither extreme. Not too much income so that we forget our families and neglect them and neglect the Lord, and not too poor, but being good stewards that we have to steal and profane God's name as a result. Tools. And you'll need 3 things. Let's keep it nice and simple. You'll need your number 1, your banking app to see where transactions go and to perform transactions. Number 2, you'll need a notes app. This can be literally just Apple Notes. Excel, if you want to use it, go all out, but I try and keep it nice and easy. I'm more of a list person. And 3, if you're new to the game, I would highly recommend getting Every Dollar. It's free, and this will help you, first of all, get an idea of where you're at. Where does your family spend money? How does it go out? Go over the last few months and record every transaction. That's going to take a bit of time. Obviously, you don't have to do it every month. I would just recommend doing it for the first few months to see how your budget's going. But that's something that is highly critical, knowing where your family's at, getting a realistic idea, because there's no point in setting a budget where you're only spending $100 on groceries if that's going to blow out every week. So you need to be realistic with your budget, and the best way to get that started is by tracking all of your previous transactions. Of course, you can do that in the Notes app as well. For me, I like it in Every Dollar because it just looks nice aesthetically. And now let's get into the theory of behind the budgeting. First of all, offering goes first, whether you give to charity or you give to your church, tithes, etc. That goes off, so take that away immediately. That's your first fruits and your first fruits. Now, for your medium goals, I would highly recommend a strategy like the baby steps, which is number 1, getting to a minimum, like having an emergency fund for fires, for things that are going crazy wrong, of $1,000. Let's just start there. Number 2, paying off all non-mortgage debt. That is credit cards, student loans, car loans, all of that. They need to be gone because they're holding you back. Number 3, working on, once you've paid off all your non-mortgage debt, then working on a 3 to 6 month emergency fund. Number 4, increasing your investments, probably to about 15% of your paycheck. Number 5, saving for your kids' future, whether that be a house or college fund if you're American. And then number 6, paying off the rest of your mortgage. Those are kind of your medium to long-term strategies for what to do with your money. And then, of course, after that, giving, being generous to others, living a life of free luxury once you're free of debt. How awesome is that? So those are the kind of medium to long-term strategies. I can explain them in another video if you'd like. Let me know down below. But those are where you're working towards. That's one of the fastest ways that you're going to get there. Now, for your short-term goals, let's work through each month. Okay, what you need to know is your incomes. when are they arriving and how much are they and what source they're coming from. Now, if you're like me, a stay-at-home mum, it's probably just a single source, but I know that some of you guys are hustlers, so I would try and detail down as much as you can guarantee. We're working with the bare minimum. Obviously, if there's any extras, make sure you write down where they would go in an ideal scenario, but we want to work with the absolute minimum. What can I guarantee each month is coming in and where from? List that down. Where is it from? What date? And how much? Now, you also need to list down, because we've already gone through and we know how much we need to budget for each month, how much we need to assign weekly for food and fuel and utilities and future utility savings. So what you need to now do is assign these outgoings to each incoming paycheck. And because paychecks come in at different times of the month, sometimes you've got to pay different things at different times of the month. So I would be aware, when are these due? When are your groceries due for each week? When is the utilities due? When should you be putting aside savings for future utilities as well? And I would start assigning them. Now, you work first with food. Food and fuel are essential because you need food to be alive and work, and you need fuel to be able to get to your place of work so that you can continue having your family be provided for. So those are the two ones that I often work with at the start. Then you move towards housing, so your mortgage or your rent, where's that going next? And then work towards utilities that are due this month, and then future savings for future utilities. For example, our rates are about, I think, $1,000 a quarter. I don't want to be hit with a bill all at once, so I'm going to break down each month how much I'm going to pay, which is about $330. So I'll put each month $330 aside, so that when that bill is finally due, it's not a sky is falling scenario. And do that with all of your utilities, especially if they're due annually, especially if they're due quarterly, or you can get on a payment plan where you're doing that monthly as well to make it a little bit easier. But that's a bit of an easier way to be able to chase your finances, make sure that you're not being completely ruled by them. And then, of course, the last thing to be assigned to paychecks is just other things. So I have a line item for just random expenses that will come up, whether you want to buy a book at a bookstore or you need to get a present. Ideally, you plan a little bit better for those, but sometimes you just hit last minute with them. And then, of course, savings for future goals, whether that be for your retirement, for your kids, etc. I normally leave that last. So I hope this helps. This is just some simple, quick strategies to get started with budgeting, especially budgeting on a single income. Hope that's been helpful. Hope it's provided a process which is a little bit easier, helps everything out. Anyway, did I miss anything? Do you have any questions? Be sure to leave them down below. Anyway, grace and peace from our Lord and Saviour, and I'll see you tomorrow.